Good morning. Challenge. Yo. Here we go. All right. 30-day Design Your Life Challenge. Right. Brought to you by the Carter Hughes Knowledge Institute. Check us out, www.carterhughesknowledgeinstitute.com. We have the trackers on there so you can track your goals. We have your power statement on there. Take a snapshot of who you are, where you want to go in life. We have the occupation breakdown sheets on there. A lot of free resources, a lot of tools to help you kind of clarify the things that are going on in your life, right? For you to kind of take clear inventory of what's happening and where do I want to go. All right. 30-day Design Your Life Challenge. And this is day 24, the day of expansion. Right? We're talking about becoming more reliable, more knowledgeable, and more useful. All right. When we talk about the day of expansion, the day of growth, improvement, right? Expanding your reach, expanding your services, expanding the reach of your products, right? Expanding your role, right, in your occupation, right? Expanding that road, looking to get that promotion, right? Go to that next level, right? To get a different perspective on the overall industry. All right, so that's what we're talking about: expanding our roles, expanding, most importantly, our perspectives, right? Expansion of your perspective is a major thing, right? Like being able to go from looking at things as a consumer to looking at things as a producer, right? And understanding, right? From for me, when I play sports, it's like looking at things just from your role, and then being able to look at things from the role of your teammates, right? And how you guys interact and are interdependent, right? How you help each other, and then looking at it from the coach's perspective, right? What's the strategy that we're trying to accomplish, right? If that team is playing aggressive defense, how can we counter that, right? Head fakes, ball fakes, right? Like expanding that perspective, right? And then from, if we're still talking sports, from the ref's point of view, right? What's their area of coverage, right? What can they see? What can they not see? Understanding the rules, right? Expanding your perspective. I know for me, something that I didn't do until my mid to late 30s. Something that I didn't understand I needed to do until my mid to late 30s, right? I was starting to kind of do it, but I didn't understand what it was, you know. And it wasn't until I got clear on it. And I was like, oh, I need to do this with most of the things, if not all the things I'm involved in, right? So now with my job, I look at it from, the administrator's point of view, from the country's point of view, like how all these departments kind of work together to protect the country and kind of monitor the country. And then in my role from the division point of view, from the office point of view, like those things matter. Understanding what the mission is of your organization, right? And then getting an understanding, okay, since this is the mission, now I can get creative and how can I specifically help to accomplish the mission, right? And as long as it's in line with the mission and I understand the mission, there's nothing to worry about, right? Other people trying to give me their interpretations, irrelevant. If you understand the mission and you understand how what you're doing helps that mission, that's what's most important, right? So we want to keep that in mind, expanding that perspective, right? From not just understanding your role, right, and how you can be effective and efficient in your role, but also expanding to understand the roles around you, right? Like what does my daughter need from me, right? How do I help her? How does she help me? What does my son need from me? How do I help him? How does he help me, right? Just kind of expanding the whole family, right? Expanding your perspective and not just seeing it from your perspective. That's what we mean when we talk about expansion, right? And a big one is consumer producer, right? We're all consumers, but we're all also producers. We were sent here to be producers, right? Primarily, we were sent to be producers to create things, right? So we don't want to get caught up in the consumer perspective, right? I know for me, I try not to do it because they're operating right in contrast of each other, right? The consumer wants to take all the money from the producer wants to take all, so it's a direct contrast, right? So we want to be sure that we have a clear perspective, right? Both of these sides have what they perceive to be good intentions, right? So it's just about switching that perspective and understanding from the producer's standpoint why would they do something like this, right? There's some kind of incentive that shapes all behavior, right? There's a reason that everybody is doing everything, right? It normally comes down to safety, whatever they believe to be safety, right? That could be joining a group to keep you safe. That could be wearing certain things or talking a certain, right? It all comes down to safety, right? So for the producer, they're trying to make money to stay safe, right? To stay on top of business. The consumer, right, is trying to spend as little money as possible to stay safe, right? So it all kind of comes down to safety. So trying to expand that perspective so you can understand what is the incentive behind all this, right? And getting clearer on your intentions, right? Get clear on your intentions and then start to expand that perspective. Remember, if you want to improve anything, make it more effective, make it more efficient, right? Let's not overcomplicate things. Make it more effective, make it more efficient, right? That's pretty much the key to improving anything. And then you want to plan to expand as well. Planning, eh, planning is important. Planning is critical to your expansion. Being willing to write down your goals and walk in that direction, right? That is critical. Proverbs 21:5. Let's see. Right, this is in the Bible. Like when I saw this, I'm like, man, because for me, I just, I need direction. It's like the law of entropy. If I'm left to my own devices, I will trend toward disorder. Right? That's the reality of me. So I need things to govern me. Right? And that's what the Bible has helped me do to kind of govern myself. And with this one, we're talking about Proverbs 21:5. Hey, Proverbs, where you at? Where you at, brother? Right out there. Whoa. All right. I should have had this set up before, huh? That's me. This is on me. I should have had this. I was 26. I should have had this set up before. Hey, I apologize, guys. This is a waste of your time right now. This is the result of me being a little unprepared. Here we go. Got it. Got it. Uh, the thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but of everyone that is hasty, only to want. Right? Thoughts of the diligent. That's the plans. Right? Making a plan, working hard at it leads to plenteousness, which means, prosperity, abundance. But everyone that is hasty, right, moving in haste, rushing, not making a plan, only to want, right, which is lack, right, struggle. So yeah, make your plans. Make your plans, right? That's important. It's important that you make your plans because once again, it gives you a boundary to operate within, right? It's like in the Garden of Eden, right? The place of abundance. They were told to eat freely from every tree, right? But there's a boundary around the Garden of Eden, right? There has to be a boundary. Has to be something that you're bound to, right? Has to be a format that you can operate within, right? You can still be spontaneous within that format, right? Like be spontaneous, but don't break the law, right? You don't want to go to jail. So it's like, you have to have some boundaries to kind of operate within, right? You can still be spontaneous. It's not like, hey, since I wrote this down, I have to, hey, none of this stuff is a burden. It's all a buddy. It's all for you. We're not trying to handcuff you to anything. We're trying to get you to think and to decide and then start taking some action, right? Once you become an achiever, you'll understand things don't always work out. Things work out, a small percentage of the time. But the more you try, the more that works out, right? And if a person is going to be overwhelmed by the fact that this may not work out, then yeah, they're probably not going to be a high achiever, right? Be not afraid, only believe, right? That's a big key to this, especially when you're talking about improvement, because you can't see the future. You can't see the stuff that's in front of you. You can't see the challenges that are coming, right? You start to have some progress, and people start coming at you with issues, right? And with big numbers, it could be scary. It could be scary, but be not afraid. Only believe. I mean, for me, it's like my belief is what got me here, right? Like not something It's not like there was some trick that I did or something. It was mainly my belief and being willing to write this crazy stuff down. I'm about to do this. Right? People like, hey, you are tripping. I was not tripping. That shit was right on point, man. But you're gonna have to have the courage. Courage will be required to believe, right, and to make your plans, right. Me and my daughter, we about to go to Canada in a couple weeks, right? While we're in Canada, we made a list, huh? That's what we're gonna do. Canadian bacon, Niagara Falls, Bata Museum, Shoe Museum, Bata, Shoe in Yoruba. That was amazing. CN Tower, Art Gallery of Ontario, the Agcan Museum, Hockey Hall of Fame. There's also a dinosaur museum as well. And then food, Canadian poutine, Canadian meat pie, French Canadian split pea soup, Canadian donair. We want to get one of those when we land, right? That joint's about to be. Pea meal bacon sandwich. I don't know, ketchup chip. Right? There's a whole list of stuff, right? But it's about giving yourself these boundaries to operate within, right? Like, so wherever I go, before I go, I'm making a plan. This is what I want to do. Like, this is what I want. For me, happiness is a science. Like, I decide on what I want. Deciding for me is easy, cakewalk, right? Because I know it don't have to work out. It just has to be me in there, and it's a win, right? So with this thing, you can't lose, right? And we're not gonna have time to do all this, right? It's amazing. Like, hey, make a plan, right? Once again, it's not a burden. It's a buddy. I mean, I haven't had a bad day at least 5, 6, 7 years, right? Bad things have happened, yes, but I wasn't confused by them. Bad things are going to happen. I'm going to do good things, and people can interpret them as bad things, right? I may do bad things, and people interpret them correctly, right? This is life. But it's up to me what I decide to focus on, right? The lack or the positive, the breath in my lungs, the ability to wake up, right? The fact that these items work. Sometimes they don't, and it gets frustrating, but they work for the most part, right? So there's a lot, once again, a lot to be grateful for. So, we definitely want to focus on that. Oh, man, 2.5 minutes. Day 24, the day of expanding that perspective and then making your plans to expand, right? Those are critical. Expanding the perspective, making the plans to expand, all right? Day 24, make sure you're looking at that power statement. Once again, first 20 minutes of your day, every day, right? That's going to remind you of who you are, right? And that's kind of the key to all this. Remind you of who you are, remind you of where you want to go. All right. Confidence, self assurance arising from a belief in one's abilities and qualities. If you don't know your abilities and qualities, difficult for you to have actual confidence, internal confidence. Now, you may have external confidence, right? When I'm in this group, I feel good. No doubt about that. But the internal confidence is what travels. You can go all over the world with this, understanding your usefulness, right? That's really mainly what it's about. So, once again, let's continue to expand, right? Make those plans to expand and try to expand our perspectives, right? To try to look at it from a different view, right? So now not only can we help in this role, now we can help from a different perspective as well. Now we can help those who are in the role that we used to be in, right? And that's kind of the point of it. Each one teach one, right? So let's say, be not afraid, only believe, right? You can accomplish those things that you desire to accomplish. It's possible, right? There's going to be people discouraging you. That's necessary to make sure you have the faith that you say you have. All right? Let's have an incredible day and continue to explore the most fascinating thing in your life. You. All right? Have a good one.